Hi, welcome to another Unitrends training session. This training session is for the install onboarding. Our final session is ongoing administration. In this session, we're going to take a look at viewing the dashboard, reports, and alerts, and what it's like to really run a Unitrends system. The following tasks are good to know prior to your scheduled installation date. In this ongoing administration session, we're going to take a deeper look at the user interface and the dashboard. We're going to show you how to use the backup catalog, and we're going to view key reports like the protection summary, the backup report, failures and alerts, the restore report, the storage capacity and data reduction reports. So once again, here in my console, we're going to log in as the root user. I'm on my local source backup appliance, and once again, we showed you the dashboard earlier, but there wasn't a lot of data in the system for us to really go through it. So once again, when you first log into any appliance, you really want to check the top, make sure you don't have any outstanding alerts. Here you can see that we have a client is no longer listening. It's been down for about 30 minutes or so. We're going to come back to that here in just a few minutes. Now, once again, here in the dashboard, these dashboards are customizable, by the way. I'm logged in here as my root account, which is the default dashboard. Yet up here in this tab, I'm logged into the console as myself. I've created my own user account. I'll show you how to do that in just a second as well too. But here in my dashboard, you can see I've customized it. I've expanded certain tiles out to be larger so they're easier to read some of the data. I've reorganized them in my order that I like. I've also included some new tabs in here as well too. Now to customize these, you can drop and drag them anywhere you want. So if you want your active jobs farther down on the list, you can start to move these things down and around. You can go to any tile, and from here you can turn on and off any other tile, and you can reset the refresh rate for the current tile you're on. Now, some tiles have different options as well too. So if you'll go down to, for example, the community tile, you can actually create or add your own Unitrends community forum account. You can also add in the daily feed, which is pretty cool. If you scroll down to the daily feed, you can actually see some current trending topics from within Unitrends as well too, which is really cool. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and stay in my own account. So we're gonna log off the root account. We're gonna close this tab out. We're gonna stay logged in to my local source as my account. So now once again, up at the top, we've got our backup summary. You can see I've got some errors as well too. Once again, we've got that same alert that shows over here that RDR is no longer listening. We can also view the more alerts. By the way, these are all the alerts we've had on the system since I powered it up, going back in all history. Here's all my disk alerts. You have the ability to filter these, the ability to sort them as well. Now, if you want to clear those alerts, you can go ahead and click on it, hit delete at the top, and you can confirm that it'll clear those alerts out of there for you. Now, that alert will come back until you resolve it. Just because you cleared that alert doesn't mean it fixed the issue. It will come. That alert will come back if you did not resolve the issue. Okay, so I can go back here, I can refresh here, and you'll see that up in the corner now that if I log back in, you'll see now that the alert is back. I didn't fix the issue. Now, RDR server client no longer listening. Just to give you an idea, probably one of the most common things you're going to face is when a server or a NAS or some device changes IP address and you have it registered as a protected asset in here, you'll be able to come in and see the IP address that it's using. There's an IP address in here and it's incorrect and you're not using DNS and you didn't fix your DNS, you may have to come in here, you may have to edit this asset and set this to the appropriate address. This is one way to do it. By setting that to the appropriate address, it now reaches back out to the client, fixes itself, and now this alert, if I clear this alert will not come back. Okay, we'll go ahead and log out. Now we'll log back in. And the alert is gone. Probably the most common thing you'll do is resetting the IP address for a device. Now I can also see that history of that failure up here in the error messages. If I go down and look at the RDR server right here, I can go into this error. It tried to back it up 5 times, couldn't reach it because the IP address was incorrect. it gave me that failure in here as well too. All right, that's all readable right from inside of the dashboard. Now I have some other errors in here that I paid attention to and I've already fixed and addressed. Oracle backups here were failing because of permission issues. I went over to configure here, and if you're backing up Oracle at home through Linux, you do have to set permissions across your databases. So I went into manage credentials and I created an Oracle credential that used my Oracle DBA account with that password, and it passes it through to the agents for the backups. If you go into that dashboard again, you go look at those errors, that's what it tells you in these error messages, is that it could not authenticate. It failed. Permission denied. I didn't have those credentials set. I set those credentials, reran the backups, and now if I go to my protection summary, if I go to the assets column and I filter on true, I can scroll down here and I can see my Oracle databases. Or if I know they all end in something or have something in common in the name, I can filter them right out of here at the top as well too. Now I know those assets have backups that are currently running and protecting that asset at the database level. The other easy way to find assets and their kind of status is through the Protect tab. I can go through this Protect tab, and down here at the bottom there's a lot of different ways to filter these. Here's my 100% successful backups last 7 days, but that doesn't mean I don't have backups that did fail. Here's my failures the last 7 days, but yet these databases, they failed once and ran successful. You can see those details in here just by using this Protect tab as well too. This is kind of like the old legacy view to get to your details, but very easy to get to your details and start that first level troubleshooting and triage. Here I had a failure on my customer main DB databases. Now these failures are differentials that are failing, and I can see why here. It says something else is grabbing the database, unable to perform a differential. Please run another on-demand full to reset the backup log, right? The reason this is happening is because I have configured on that SQL server at the VMware level application aware settings. I'm using application aware to properly snapshot those SQL databases. That truncates those logs, so my differentials are fighting for the logs over the VMware application aware. I cannot run both. Remember I showed you backup jobs in my SQL backup jobs here. This is the one that's failing the differentials. I can only run weekly or daily fulls along with application aware and the agent. I can't do both. VMware is going to take those logs every time. There's a few simple things we can start looking at to first level triage and get to the details. But now I want to start looking at the Recover tab. In the Recover tab is where we start to look at the backup catalog, which is actually your recovery catalog. What I like about this area is if you know what server you're looking for, you can filter that server right down by the part of the name, and you can bring that asset right out and start to filter back and see its backup history. You can see the fulls through the incremental chain. If I want to do any file level recovery on this object, I can pull up the catalog and immediately start to browse through this catalog looking for files or folders. This happens to be that desktop that we set up, right? I can also look for the file server. Here's the VMware file server snapshot. I can go in and highlight it for file level recovery, create a VMware file level recovery object. When that's created successfully, I can open up my File Explorer window and I can go to the path of the appliance. Off of this appliance address, I'll see an FLR folder. This is my virtual disks presented back out to me as shares. This is my C drive from my file server. I can actually go over to file level recovery area. I see that mount point and I can view those same details. Where is that share? Where do I go to get to that virtual disk so I can copy out any information from the virtual machine at the file or application level? All right, if I want to recover that same virtual machine, I can take that same recovery point, recover the virtual machine back to any host, or I can immediately start to spin it up for instant recovery. I can also take agent-based machines and put them into instant recovery. We call that virtual failover client. Creating a virtual failover client, if you lose that machine, you can fail it over off the physical appliance. That's the beauty of having a recovery series appliance. Now, if we start to look at the reports inside of here, a lot of great reports. The protection summary, once again, you can run it from the dashboard. Here you can go back to even longer date ranges if you need to. Here's all the backups I'm running. I can filter on all the protected assets. Here's everything that I have backups for. We can see how many backups have ran and failed according to their status. Once again, we can start to filter up here if we want to look at all of our VMware assets. Maybe we want to look at all of our SQL. We can start to filter that stuff out as well too. You also may have more than what shows on the screen down here. Pay attention to this as well too. It's showing 25 of 26 items. If I want to see that complete list, I may need to expand my settings down here. A lot of great reports in here. The other reports that you want to pay attention to are the backup history report. This is a great report to show all the history of all the backups that have ran on the appliance. Once again, once you run the report, you can filter and isolate and sort. And there's also, make sure you know where the backup failures report is. Once again, this is the report that shows off the dashboard for the last 7 days. Those are that same failures that you see by clicking here in the dashboard. Legal hold backups is a good report to know where it's at. Once again, there's also the recovery history in here. If you've done any kind of restores on the appliance, you can go back in time for auditing reasons and generate any kind of restore history. There's also reports for backup copies, whether you're going to hot or cold targets. And also appliance reports. This is where the capacity report is. Very important report to know how your footprint is looking compared to your storage capacity. Once again, the closer you grow to your capacity limit, the less retention you're going to have, the less storage the appliance has for the ability to keep track of all the incremental changes. Once again, you've got the capacity report here in the appliance level, but you can get to that through the dashboard or see that right here through the dashboard by hovering over the appliance. You've got 750 gigs of total storage here, and I'm using 164 gigs. The closer I get to that 750, the less room I have for retention. Also in the appliance here, you've got the alerts and notifications reports. Very important to make sure you know where these are so you can go back for auditing reasons and see everything kind of at the system level of what the appliance is doing or has done. Also, ending with the storage reports. I like these two. This is the storage report that kind of shows the last 30 days worth of growth, kind of breaks down each day's worth of new data growth, which is kind of a really cool report. The data reduction report, once again, you can go back to a date range. You can go in here and you can start to see your data reduction. I first turned on and powered on my appliance on the 12th. See, I really started to run backups over the last couple of days. Now you can see I've got almost 2.5 to 1 deduplication. Right, the green bar is deduplication. The gold bar is compression. Last little thing I want to end with in here, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. Editing your appliance settings is done through the configure and the appliance tab up here at the top. You highlight on your appliance and you click the edit button. You can set the asset name, you can set the qualified name, the IP address. You can set email alerts in here after you run the wizard. Here's where you come in and set email alerts. I can set user security in here at different levels. You can even tie to Active Directory if you need to. We don't recommend it. Date and time servers in here. You may have to come in, modify your license once in a while if support tells you to. There's also backup copy settings in here. This is where you can suspend and adjust your number of connections used for hot backup copies. There's also the advanced area once again that has all the settings in here that you need, even to set the CentOS console password. This is where you also enable encryption as well too. So once again, a pretty good overview of the entire Unitrends console. Should give you a pretty good start on how to manage the appliances and how to get around in the dashboard. Be sure to check out our other great learning programs in the community under My Training. These other programs include the UCA, which is the fundamentals of Unitrends, and the UCSA, the System Administrator.